Hey guys, today in this video I want to talk about Priest, of course, and why they will pretty much always suck, and how we didn't get any inspiration from the new set. I have a lot of points, and this is going to be a little bit ranty, so hopefully you bear with me. Before we jump in though, there's a little disclaimer. I love Hearthstone. I think it's a great game, and I still love it. But because I am passionate about it, that's why I'm gonna make this video. And there's gonna be a little bit of negative stuff, but I hope it's gonna be more of a, criticism or constructive criticism for everybody, I guess. Okay, so Karazhan is coming. And we got 3 new cards, right? We got Priest of the Feast, we got Onyx Bishop, and we got Purify. Okay. First argument on why Priest is very uninspiring is because all the new cards are just basically a rehash on old mechanics, right? It's like they didn't come up with any new ideas, as in Blizzard, and Priest doesn't have a direction to go, right? You compare this with all the mage and hunter, secret stuff they have. Paladin gets a dragon card, and yeah, back to druid. Druid has like a lot of beast synergy and whatnot. It's like Priest is just kind of stuck in the same spot, right? I mean, you look at Onyx Bishop. It's basically slapping a 3-mana 3/4 plus the resurrect card we already have, right? Purify is basically a super expensive silence, and Priest of the Feast is, I mean, you're just healing yourself, right? It's probably the only card that could see play. But my point is that all the new Priest cards, I kind of like that, right? I mean, Darkshire Alchemist was a card released in the last expansion that basically had Flash Heal tacked onto a 4-mana 4/5 body. And then we have Power Tentacles, which is like Valen's Chosen. With Embrace the Shadow, probably the worst offender of all. It's basically an Arcanized Soul Priest, but in spell form, right? So it's like they don't have a lot of ideas on what Priest should do. I mean, one of their ways of talking about cards is that, sure, they don't have to be the most powerful cards, but they could be fun cards, right? I'm looking at the new Priest cards, and they're not exactly fun to me because we already have these mechanics already. And like that doesn't satisfy the point they're trying to make. So back then in Priest, why it was so fun is because you get to play cards from your opponent's deck. Or you get to play not Priest cards. That's what made it fun, right? So you have like Thought Steal, you have like Shadow Madness, Mind Control, you have the new ones like Shifting Shade and Entomb, and like in Cabal Shadow Priest, right? Like stuff like that. You get to like play with your opponent's cards, which is like really fun. But the problem is like we don't have any core cards, right? I mean, we've been asking for a 2-drop, a viable 2-drop for ages, and we never got them, right? The main offender comes to mind with like Totem Golem, right? Warlock, it's like the Shaman Totem Golem is such a good 2-drop for the class because it's such a tempo play that anything else everything else just kind of feels fine because you are playing a 3/4 turn 2 and you get to actually play your late game cards. Like Priest doesn't actually get to do that, right? The only card that's remotely close that you can play in Priest is like Doomsayer. Because when you play Museum Curator or something, it's a 1/2 body. It doesn't really do anything. It's deal 1 damage, draw a card, right? And Priest needs more ways to fight the early game, right? Another one would be like the Warlock Dark Peddler, right? Dark Peddler is so good. There isn't any viable stuff there, and this expansion did not change it. Another point that Priest will always be kind of bad is that the core set, right? The core set is just abysmal. So a little backtrack for people who are not really familiar with this. So in Whispers of the Old Gods, they created standard mode, right? Where they said that, oh, we want a fresh metagame when new cards come out, and we don't want you know, the card pool to be so huge that new players feel, you know, very daunting to start Hearthstone. But they made one, they made one like choice that was very, very pivotal, I guess. It was that vanilla cards, so the basic set and the classic set, will always be around. So they basically be evergreen, right? You can always use them. And if you look at the Priest core set, if you ignore all the bad cards, because I mean all the classes have some sort of like very bad cards, like conditional cards. So if you ignore like Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, you know, those kind of stuff, and then the bad minions like Light Spawn, Light Well, and then you also have to ignore like Shadow Form, Master Spell, you know, the cards that are just not played, right? You look at all the you know, quote unquote good cards in Priest. So you have like your Shadow Word Depths and Shadow Pains. You have your Power Shields, you know, your Holy Nova. Just like cards that could see play, right? Alkanai is a great one. But that's it, right? That's it. Like you're not like constructed play, you're not gonna play Temple Enforcer, right? You're not gonna like immediately jump on Mind Games and stuff like that. And Holy Fire is like not really that good at it. So you already have a very limited core set. The cards that are good though, they all trade 1-for-1 at a condition. That's like like so bad, right? 1-for-1 is already quite awkward, and being at a condition, like Shadow Pain is a condition, right? And Shadow Death is a condition, makes it even worse. Like when you compare to any weapon in the game, right? Fire War Axe, True Silver, any weapon in the game, the Shadow Wars just suck. Like you never pick a Shadow Pain over any weapon in the game. You would pick a like what's a bad, like a 3-mana 3/2 weapon, right? That's kind of bad. Like King's Defender is kind of bad. Eaglehorn Bow is kind of bad for the cost when you compare it to Fire War Axe. But it's like miles ahead of Shadow Pain because Shadow Pain can only kill one thing, whereas Weapon can kill 2 things. Like imagine if Priest had a weapon. You can actually use your hero power correctly because like how often are you going to hero power turn 2 and do nothing while your warrior opponent or your handlock opponent, like the same control style decks, right? They're actually doing something on turn 2 without playing cards. But when you're playing Priest, you have to play a turn 2 play. You have to play a turn 2 card. You cannot rely on your hero power, right? What's another point I want to bring up is that there are too many themes in Priest, right? It kind of ties back to my point where there's no direction in Priest. Let me give you examples, right? There's the Healing Priest, right? Just this normal like Holy Fire and like Flash Shield and whatnot. There's Shadow Priest, which is a archetype that they basically kind of put in because it was very similar to World of Warcraft. It was thematic, but it's a lot of wasted design space in my opinion because Shadow Priest is not even viable. I think I talked about this, like Shadow Bomber and Spawn of Shadows. Like, why does it even hurt yourself? Like, that doesn't even make sense, right? If you're playing like an aggro Shadow Priest, it's a race to get your opponent down to 0. So why are you playing an effect that is mirrored, right? Let's just more on that later, I guess. That's like a different topic by itself. There's also the Divine Spirit Inner Fire Priest cheese. There's the Steal Your Priest cards deck with like Thought Steal and Shifting Shade and Entomb and everything like that. There's Dragon Priest with only one dragon specific dragon, like there's only Twilight Woke, right? That's it. There's Freeze Priest with like Doomsayer and Valen and whatnot, and there's, well, there's like Control Priest, right? The one I was trying to explore and make with the Forbidden Shaping and whatnot. But in a sense, because the archetypes are so spread out, it makes it bad. Like, because, like, you also, imagine if you're playing, like, you know, you're drafting a arena deck, or you're drafting, like, even, like, in Magic, you're drafting cards, right? It's better to have all cards of the same thing rather than cards that are split everywhere, right? I mean, imagine if you have to open, like, Sealed Proof of Hearthstone, and you open like 200 cards and you're asked to make a deck. If you have 20 cards of each class and 20 neutral cards, it's not as good as say you have 100 Warlock cards, right? That means like you just get to have a better Warlock deck. So, yeah, too many themes in Priest definitely hurts. I mean, the Druid, an example would be like Druid. Druid has like the aggro version with Savage Roar and like a Beast synergy deck, right? There's the mid-range deck with just playing Innervate and like wrapping up and get like just playing good stuff, Druid the Claw and whatnot. And then there's like the super ramp Druid, where you just focus on the late game stuff, right? That's it. That's only 3 archetypes in Druid, and nothing else. Sure, you have like the Mali Druid or whatnot, but the 3 core archetypes are there. But Priest, there is no core archetype. In Hunter, there is, of course, right? There's the aggro, there's the mid range, and that's it. That's why those are like good classes, right? In Rogue, same thing. You got the right now, like you got the Miracle, which is like the first archetype that was developed, and then you got stuff like aggro Rogue, obviously. And then you have like the newer Temple Rogue with like N'Zoth, Defrado, and Recursion and whatnot. That's really cool. Just it's very focused, right? And even though rogues get the new like rogues are trying to steal your opponent's class cards now, right? That's like a new archetype, I guess, or like a new design space. It kind of correlates to the things that are already in place, and that's like a sign of like a good design space, I guess, right? To add to that, I guess, like, when I say that Priest has no direction, it's more because, like, other classes just do Priest things better than Priest, right? I mean, I made a tweet before, you can, like, look at this below. I was saying, like, Warriors are going to control better, Rogues steal better and Paladins heal better. Because that's true, right? I mean, Paladin has some of the most exciting heal cards, like, with Forbidden Healing and Lay on Hands, and the new Ivory Knight, stuff like that. I mean, I get why Priest cannot have a good heal card. It's because of Alkanai, right? You cannot have a target, restore something because you might just Forbidden Healing your opponent for 20 or something like that. That's pretty bad. But is Alkanai just limiting the design space that much? You get what I mean? Like, can't you say just restore health to a friendly minion? I mean, I guess they did that with Purify, but that's not my point, right? Priest is known to be good healers, right? And we're a control deck. Why do Paladins have like better healing than us? So that they have an actual control deck, and they have a hero party that does something on turn 2, right? So that's them. So Paladin does Priest better. And now Warriors control better because they have Brawl, whereas Priest has Holy Nova, and that's it. I mean, we had Light Bomb before, but now it's gone in Standard. And Warriors just have like weapons and like just actual cycle, like Slam. Just efficient stuff, right? Priest does not have efficient stuff. And they also don't have any proactive stuff. I mean, if you think about Rogue can be a very controlled class of Miracle, right? They have like Saps and, Eviscerates and Backstabs. Like, Priest doesn't have those choices. So, and now the only thing that Priest had was that I can steal your cards and play your cards and make you rage and stuff like that. Man, I still remember when I played Thought against Artosis. That was like way so long ago. I got Shield Block and Shield Slam. It was like the best thing ever, right? That was really, really fun. But now Rogues can do that better, right? They have Burgle. They have, more playable. They have the Huckster. They have the new 1 mana Huckster, basically. And now they have the Ethereal, the 5 mana 5/6 that reduces card cost, right? So like, there's just Priest is just like it should actually be deleted from the game because it's not necessary. It's like somebody felt like that we needed 9 classes, so they brought Warrior, they brought Rogue, and they brought Paladin, right? Because and then they just mesh them up together and have 1/3 of each of those classes while not doing any of those like as well. Because if you play Hearthstone for the first time and there's no Priest, you would say that, oh yeah, Paladin is the healing class, right? I mean, there's so many cards in Paladin that heal, right? You got Tuskar Jouster, you got like Guardian of Kings. True Silver is a healing card too, right? And you would think that like, if you never played World of Warcraft before, like, you would think that, oh yeah, Paladin's the healing class. Like, you don't even need to know about Priest for them to exist, right? So that makes me really, really sad. Because, well, if you're watching this channel or video or whatnot, you probably know that Priest is my favorite class because in Hearthstone, there's like there's a lot of choices. I feel there's a lot of choices in Hearthstone. Even if you play like an on-curve tempo deck, right? The biggest offender would be like Secret Paladin back then when there was Mysterious Challenger, right? I feel like in Secret Paladin there's still like choices you need to make, right? Whether you want to play, you know, your Udamon or your Truce over at turn 4 to establish more tempo or to remove the board. There are choices, and Priest is like the epitome of choice because you only have X amount of resources, right? You only have like your Holy Novas. You only have your Alkanized Circle, right? If you use your Alkanized Circle is a very good example. If you use your Alkanized Circle too early, you die, right? You have to kind of, you know, have like a risk management on like, okay, I could take 5 damage right now and hold the Alkanized Circle and hope my opponent plays something else, or I could play it now and hope my opponent doesn't have any more gas and I can actually win the game, right? Like that is such an interesting like problem that I face when I play Priest. It's so much fun. But it feels like Hearthstone is like it already is. It already is a tempo game from the start, right? You know, that's why, you know, Tempo Dragon Warrior is such a strong deck right now. But then like with the new cards, so like new cards are like, especially the Dragon Paladin card, right? The 3 mana 2/3 that summons 2/1/1s, right? It's such a tempo card. And it reminds me of Master Verbato, really. And Master Verbato is just so, it was so pushed. It was a 3 mana 3/3 split into 3 bodies, plus you get a 1/1 charge for 4 turns, basically, with immune, right? It's a 4 mana. It's a 4-hit 1/1 that's immune. You can't interact with it, it's a weapon. So that's really frustrating because if you're not playing something in Hearthstone, if you're not playing something every turn, you're so behind. You're so behind. And with the new Priest cards, they don't help. I mean, Onyx Bishop doesn't even synergize with itself. Okay, it doesn't. You don't want Onyx Bishop to die because the Onyx Bishop might bring back Onyx Bishop, and that's not good. And just, it's not a tempo play. It's a turn 5 play. Turn 5s, people are playing like, you know, Drew the Claws and whatnot already. And it's just not fast enough. Right? It's just so slow. All of these Priest downfalls, I guess, makes me believe that like there's 2 things in the Hearthstone Team 5 Blizzard team, I think. Okay. Well, one is that I think there is no Priest player in the dev team, right? Because if there was, archetypes or new ideas would be more pushed. You get what I mean? Like, if I'm looking at you know, for example, I'm just gonna actually look at some Karazhan cards. If you look at Paladin, for example, right? There's a mid-range Paladin that's like not as strong right now because there are other mid-range decks that are better. So then Blizzard went like, sure, we're gonna release a Nightbane Templar, right? That's the 3 mana 2/3, which has a lot of tempo. And then there's an Ivory Knight, which gives you a lot of value, a lot of reach, right? It's a 6 mana 4/4 that draws a card and heals yourself. That gets you to the late game, right? Like, it feels like Paladin is getting help, right? Another good example is Druid, right? It's like, oh wow, Priest Druid is not as popular as Zoo, right? Or you know, your Shaman, the aggro Shaman. So let's give them some health. Right? Let's make it more of a mid-rangey thing with the 1 mana 2/2 Enchanted Raven. Let's try and help it with the 6 mana 5/5 Menagerie Warden that, you know, copies a beast. So if you buff your beast really big, or you know, you use it on your Stranglethorn Tiger, that's insane or something like that, right? But Priest, no, we're just gonna rehash all the cards that we have already and just add up the mana cost, right? Like, I would like. Back way then, Pirate Shield was a +3, 1 mana, give a minion +3 health, right? Does that remind you of a card? Yeah, it does, right? It reminds you of the Temple Enforcer. It's a 6 mana 6/6 that gives a friendly minion 3 extra health. It's the same thing. It's always rehashing the same things we have already. And the core set is not even good, remember? Like, we already analyzed the core set and it's not even solid. So it's like useless. So I think personally that there is no Priest player in the dev team, or if they don't function like each developer manages a class or right now, like as a collective, then they ignored priests. They forgot about that. Like, they were just, oh, let's make cool cards for them, and oh, what should we do for priests? Oh, let's just, you know, let's just make a resurrect priest, or like make a silence priest. I mean, yeah, I mean, Purify deserves its own video. I mean, a lot of people talk about Purify already. I'm not gonna do it. Purify is just like terrible, right? It's like it's like the worst cards in Hearthstone. That's for sure. So yeah, seeing this happen to Priest is really depressing for me, honestly, because I don't get to play competitive Priest. I guess. Like, Priest is just actually a fun deck now. Like, it's just actually the definition of a casual deck. It's just too bad. I'm still gonna play Hearthstone. I'm still gonna very much enjoy it. And I'm still gonna play Priest, honestly. But when I feel like winning, or when I feel like I want to dabble into more competitive stuff, I'm gonna be playing other stuff. There's only so much potential in a bad class, right? So yeah, that's my rant. It's always gonna suck. It's always gonna suck. They have to print the most insane cards in the next expansion for Priest to be good. And judging by the past 3 expansions or the history of Hearthstone, that's not gonna happen. So, well, it's fine. We're just gonna suck it up. And we're just gonna explore some other classes. Alright? So until next time, guys. We'll see you on stream. We're gonna be doing a be doing a marathon stream on August 11th on Karazhan release day. So you guys should tune into that. That's on my Twitch. And yeah, that's it. That's it. Bye.